Warren Buffett has been offered thousands of investment opportunities over his career. Pitches from the world's smartest entrepreneurs, bankers, and deal makers. Some of those opportunities went on to produce billions of dollars of returns for other investors. He passed on almost all of them, not because he analyzed them and found them wanting, but because most didn't clear the very first filter. He has a decision framework so refined, so internalized over 7 decades of practice, that most opportunities are eliminated not by analysis, but by pattern recognition. Today, we break down the 5 core elements of that framework, not as investment advice, but as a decision-making operating system applicable to any high-stakes domain. Most people approach decision-making as information processing. Gather enough data, analyze it carefully, and the right answer will emerge. Warren Buffett's approach is fundamentally different. He is not primarily an information processor. He is a clarity engineer. His entire framework is designed to achieve maximum conviction before committing, not by analyzing more, but by filtering better. The result is a decision process that makes fewer moves, with higher conviction, at lower emotional cost, and with dramatically superior long-term outcomes. 5 elements, each distinct, each learnable. Before Buffett evaluates any opportunity, its financials, its management, its competitive position, he asks a single question. Do I genuinely understand this business, not at a surface level, at a deep level? Do I understand the economics, the competitive dynamics, how the business model performs across economic cycles? If the honest answer is no, the opportunity goes into what he calls the too hard pile, and he moves on without regret. This is the first and most powerful filter in Buffett's decision framework, the circle of competence. It is the reason he avoided technology stocks for most of his career, not because he thought they were bad businesses, but because he knew he lacked the depth of understanding required for genuine conviction. The implementation. Before any significant decision, ask honestly, do I genuinely understand this domain well enough to have a real tested edge? If the honest answer is no, walk away. The decisions that survive this filter deserve deep attention. The ones that don't were never as attractive as they appeared. Buffett applies a double-sided newspaper test to any significant decision. First, would I be comfortable seeing this decision reported on the front page of a newspaper tomorrow morning? Second, and this is the element most people overlook, would I be equally comfortable if the opposite decision were reported? Both directions matter equally. The first catches ethical and reputational risk. The second catches excessive conservatism, the decisions not made that should have been. Together they create a boundary that is both principled and courageous. This is decision element 2, the application. In your next high-stakes decision, run both sides of the newspaper test. Would public scrutiny of your choice reveal a problem? And would public scrutiny of your inaction reveal a missed opportunity or an abdication of responsibility? Both are failures of judgment. Both deserve examination. Charlie Munger once said that if you wouldn't own a stock for 10 years, you shouldn't own it for 10 minutes. Buffett's approach to all significant commitments shares this architecture. He thinks in decade-length time frames. Not because he lacks flexibility, because long-time horizons eliminate the majority of decisions that look attractive in the short term, but are structurally unsound. A business that maintains competitive advantage for 10 years is a categorically different asset than a business that looks good this quarter. A career commitment that builds compounding skill and relationships over 10 years is categorically different from one that optimizes for immediate income. This is decision element 3, the 10-year lens. Application. For any significant decision, ask, does this still look like the right choice in 10 years? If the answer changes based on time frame, you have identified a decision being made from short-term bias rather than genuine conviction. Most decisions that feel urgent are not decisions that benefit from urgency. Here is the counterintuitive core of Buffett's framework, the element that contradicts almost everything modern business culture teaches about decision-making. Buffett treats inaction as the default. Action requires justification. In a culture that celebrates speed, decisiveness, and constant movement, this feels almost irresponsible. But the evidence is unambiguous. Buffett's greatest investment decisions have not been buy decisions. They have been hold decisions. The refusal to sell core positions through multiple market crashes when every short-term signal said to exit. He is in the business of not deciding until deciding is obviously correct. The implementation: cultivate a high threshold for action. Before any significant move, ask, am I acting because acting is genuinely the highest value choice right now, or because inaction feels uncomfortable? The discipline to wait for clarity is, in a world that rewards busyness, one of the rarest and most compounding advantages available. The final element of Buffett's framework is arguably the most difficult to build and the most valuable to possess: emotional consistency. His most cited line, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful," is not a market timing strategy. It is a description of a trained emotional architecture. The ability to feel calm when others are panicking and cautious when others are euphoric is not a personality trait Buffett was born with. It is a trained response, built over decades of deliberate exposure to market volatility and intentional emotional regulation. The implementation: practice making small decisions against your emotional grain regularly. When you feel certain, introduce deliberate skepticism. When you feel afraid, deliberately look for evidence of stability. This emotional cross-training builds the thermostat Buffett describes, a system that stays calibrated when the external environment is screaming in one direction. 5 elements of the framework behind one of the greatest decision-making track records in history. The circle of competence filter: only act where your knowledge is genuinely deep. The newspaper test: evaluate both the action and the inaction. The 10-year lens: think in timeframes that eliminate short-term bias. Inaction as default: act when it's obviously correct, not when it feels urgent. The emotional thermostat: stay calibrated when the environment is not. These are not passive principles. They are active disciplines that require daily repetition before they become the default operating system of your thinking. Begin with 1. Apply it to the next significant decision you face. Then the next. Compound from there. If this changed how you think, subscribe. I break down these frameworks every week, the mental models, habits, and psychological systems of the world's highest performing leaders. Drop a comment below. Which element of Buffett's framework are you building first?